Have you ever seen a musical that blew your breath away? And have you ever wondered, can I do that with my students? How? I don't know how to stage a musical performance, and I don't know what to teach my kids in the classroom. Well, don't worry. I'm here to help you stage a beautiful musical performance and also how to create a beautiful and engaging classroom environment. I'm Cherish, and it's showtime. This is a teaching guide on how to have a fun English musical class. Now let's move on. What is English musical? Or what is musical theater? Musical theater is a form of theatrical performance that combines songs, spoken dialogue, acting, and dance. So in a musical, you have to act, you have to sing, and you have to dance all together. And also, since this is English musical, we have to do everything in English. So from your interacting with the kids, from the classroom environment, from the scripts and the songs, everything has to be in English. So next, what are the benefits of an English musical? First, we have gain confidence. To gain confidence or to conquer stage fright. When they go upstage, what do? Do they just stand there? Or do they have to be shy? What do they do? So you help them to have confidence when they go up there and show themselves to people. Or not even just stage, but when they go out there and they have conversations with foreigners or in situations that they have to talk in English, it helps them to have confidence. Number 2 is self-expression. So English musical helps them to express their individuality, to express their uniqueness through their body movements, through their facial expressions, through their singing, or even just being in character. For example, if there's a princess, if they have to be a princess, how does the princess talk? How does the princess move? It helps them think and imagine and do a lot of things that their mind can do. Number 3 is interpersonal skills. So English musical helps them to relate to other people on how to communicate effectively with other people. And number 4, learn English while having so much fun. English musical's goal is to have a fun, engaging class full of games, full of surprises, full of singing, full of dancing, and so we make this a stress-free environment for the kids, and so that they would not even think that they're going to a classroom, and I have to learn English again. So we will make it enjoyable for the students when they go to the English musical class. So a teacher has many roles, and these are some of them. First is the director. So since you are the director, you are the captain of the ship. You have to decide on where the kids would go, what they would say, where they would go on stage, and what they should do when they are on stage. So you have to decide who the characters are, what they're going to be, what the roles are. That is your role as a director. And since some of the students might be very young, you would have to feed them everything since they don't know what to do on stage. So you have to tell them how to move, if they have to turn their backs, if they have to say their lines louder or softer, how they would sing, how they would use their bodies on stage, their facial expression, and everything. And also, it is very important that you prepare in advance. So you learn the songs, you learn the meaning of the songs, you have to learn the dances, you have to think and imagine how you would want the stage to look like. You would have to think of how the kids would move around the stage and how the scenes would prosper per scene by scene. So that is your role as a director. And as a director, you are the eye and the ear of the audience. So it is your job to make it perfect for them. Next is the vocal coach. So if we say vocal coach, it has to do with the singing. So it is also your job to tell the kids or to teach the kids how to hit the high notes. It is also your job to warm up the voices of the kids whenever they come to class. It is your job to tell them the meaning of all the songs so they would know how to sing it, so they would know how to act while they were singing it. Those are your roles as the vocal coach. And also, you have to take care of your own voice. So you also have to warm up your own voice before going to class. Next is the choreographer. So you are the voice teacher, but you are also the dance teacher. So you have to teach them the dances. If your musical piece has already the choreography in it, then you just have to master, you just have to practice the dances involved in that musical performance. But if there's not, then you have to think of the right movements for the kids. If the kids are too young, you would just have to make easy dance steps for them. And if they are older enough, then you can make some complicated dance steps for them. And also, as a choreographer, you have to make it easy to remember for the kids. For example, if you have to go like this, you can include names for those dances. Like, for example, this looks like swimming. So you can tell them, let's swim, 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 and swim, and swim. And this one looks like a rainbow. So you can say rainbow, rainbow, swim, swim, rainbow, rainbow. So you can tell them how to remember the dances by giving names to those dances that you are going to teach them. Next is the English teacher. So because this is English musical, you are the English teacher. So your part as an English teacher is to tell them what the lines mean, what their roles are. And when they say those lines, how do they say it? What's the intonation of this line? Be careful to see the punctuation marks in the end of the sentences. Like if there is an exclamation point, how do they say it when they have to raise their voice with exclamation like stop or something? And if there is a question mark, how do they say it like what's that or something like that? So as an English teacher, it is your job to tell them what the meaning of the script is, and also to tell them how to articulate or how to think of the intonation of the sentences that they're going to speak. Next is side coach. So when I say side coach, you don't control everything. You're not the coach. You just tell them what to do, but you also leave them to their imagination. You give them space to imagine, to be creative. And your job is to encourage them, to give them a lot of encouragement, like saying that you're doing a great job. Oh, that's a very nice action. You can do better. And it is your job as a side coach to give them encouragement and good words. But when you give them good words, I'm not meaning good or the best. Don't say good or bad or like or dislike, because it is going to make or break the actors. Your actors will depend on your comments. And if they say, if they hear you say, oh, it's a bad action, or the way you deliver the lines is bad, then it will break their hearts. So just your job is to encourage them. Just say, oh, you're doing a great job, but I think it will be better if you do this, or I think it will be better if you say it like this. Oh, your hands are very stretched up high. That's a very nice movement. Great job. So that is your job as the side coach. You give them encouragement. You don't control them. Give them a lot of space for imagination and for their creativity to transpire. Now, let's go to what you do in the classroom. So these are the preparations that you have to make beforehand. First, you can see, choose the musical theater piece. Next, rewrite the script. Next is to prepare the songs and choreography. And also, you have to prepare a simple lesson plan. Let's go to the first one, choosing a musical piece. It has to be level appropriate or age appropriate. So if you are going to have kids who are age 8 or 9, you don't expect them to play Miss Saigon, right? So you have to give them a musical that suits their age. For example, Showtime's The Cat with Boots, it's much better if you give them to second or third graders because it's easier for them to understand the story and to also say the lines perfectly without committing any mistakes. And also their level of understanding the teacher or the teacher's command is much more easier than people or than kids from 8 or below. So next, rewrite the script. Sometimes you would encounter problems like there are only very few characters, but there are so many kids in your class. What will you do? Or sometimes you would encounter like you have a lot of characters, but there are not a lot of students to do them. So first, you can create 2 teams if you have a lot of kids in your class. So for example, in scene 1, you have a cat, you have a boy, you have a princess, you have a king, and you have a servant. Then you create 1 team for that. And for the second scene or scene 2, you can have another person to play cat and another person to play boy, another person to play princess and king and servant and ogre. So if you have 2 teams, on the first scene, they would be the cat, they would be the boy, they would do everything in the first scene, and then another team comes for the second scene, but the people, the audience, they won't know, they won't recognize that there was a change of characters because they're wearing the same costume. So you can create 2 teams if you have a lot of kids in one classroom and you have very few characters. So another thing that you can do is add more people to do the minor characters. So for example, in the book, Cat with Boots, they have a bird and a rabbit and 2 farmers. So if you have a lot of kids in your classroom, you can have 3 rabbits. It won't hurt to have 4 birds or maybe 4 farmers. So we will have this as an example. The rabbit is looking for food. So he says, sniff, sniff, I smell food. How can we divide it into 3 characters? So you can do repetitions. So the rabbit 1 says, sniff, sniff. And maybe rabbit 2 says, sniff, sniff in a different way, like sniff, sniff, or something like that. And rabbit 3 can say, sniff, achoo! And all 3 of them can say, we smell food. And that can be a good way to rewrite your script. So you can have more characters to do the minor details or the minor characters. And for the minor characters to do these roles, you have to give them more lines to speak. So let's go to the next one. Prepare and practice songs and choreography. This is very important. So before you go to your classroom, you have to master the choreography. You have to memorize the songs. You have to know how to sing the right notes, how to sing the high notes and the low notes. If there is also like harmony, you also have to learn the harmony. So you have to prepare everything before you start your class. Next is to prepare the materials for games and activities. So every time you go to the classroom, you have to be prepared. So it won't hurt to have a hanky for the games or a pen or a board marker that you can use as props, that you can use as tools for your games, for drama games, for English games, and for the warm-up exercises. So you can also have some balloons or cups that you can use, or even just the things inside the classroom like books and chairs. You can use everything to your English class and to have some activities and games, so you will have a lot of fun. Next, prepare a simple lesson plan. So when I say simple, it has to be really simple, because you have to adjust to the mood of the class, to the mood of the students. So if today is a boring day, then you have to have a lot of activities like dancing, or a lot of games that requires them to jump or to run. It will create a lot of enjoyable atmosphere in your class. So, for example, this is my first day lesson plan. So it's very simple. It has the minutes, like how long you're going to do the exercises. So this is only for a 2-hour class. Usually, I would only have a 2-hour class per day, per session. So it will not be very short that you would have you won't have enough time to do all the things that you need to do, and it's not very long, so you can have a lot of exercises to warm up their bodies, to warm up their voices and their facial expressions. You can also teach them how to act, and you can also teach them how to sing and dance all in one class. So this is an example. First, when I arrive in the class, I start right away with warm-up exercises. You warm up your bodies, you warm up your faces, you warm up your voices. So you just do that for 15 minutes or so. So next one is team building games. So the team building game, you can just do one per day, and it just has to be like 5 minutes. So team building games are very important because it creates the friendly environment or the camaraderie in your class. So some of the kids, they would be shy. Some of them, they don't like to be touched. Some of them, they don't want to be left alone. So this is a good way for them to interact with other people, to be very flexible with interpersonal relationships, and it will create a very fun environment for the class. Next is the drama games. So this one, you have to give it a bit of time, because drama games, you need them for the acting skills of the kids. So you can do 2 drama games per class, or if you have a lot of fun activities already, you just can do 1. Okay, so next is also very important. They have to have break time. After all those activities that they do before they start doing the scenes and the dances and the songs, they have to have time to relax. So just give them 5 to 10 minutes of break time. And next one is storytelling or discussion time. So this is only for the day 1. You don't have to do this every class. So for day 1, just do some storytelling and discussion, like what the musical piece would be about, what's the story of the musical that you're going to do. And also, you can do some storytelling with finger puppets that is provided in the book. So they have finger puppets over here, and you can do that with the kids. And also, you can do your first reading in the first day of class. So first reading, usually you would just go through the lines without emotion, and you would just tell them to read it one by one if they understand it, or if they cannot read it, you tell them, you teach them how to read it. And also, you can do the songs. We can do the first song of the musical. So you can tell them how to sing it, you can tell them the meaning of the song, and so on and so forth.